You're watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, John Paul Blair.
Together we are Roll Break. And family, how's every single one of you? Welcome to Tuesday. No, it's not Tuesday, it's Thursday. Welcome to Thursday to talk about NXT UK. And finally, the crowds are back. You know, that was like the big headline. All of everybody, crowd is back, like 10 people.
Yeah, and then the crowd we were excited for, they weren't very lively, you know, whether it was actual fans or just like, you know,
or families,
family, whoever, you know, they were there. It added a little bit, not as much as we were hoping, but I still thought, and I know you agree with me, this was a pretty good episode of NXT.
Yes,
UK.
You know, we had the first title defense for Ilja Dragunov, so that was something also that to consider. It was good. You know, we knew that like the A-Kid and him were gonna have a great match. You know, like probably not as great as the Walter. You can top that. You know, once you go to that level, and you know, like Ilja Dragunov, maybe as the defending champion, you need a strong heel. And A-Kid is not there. You know, it's not the same type of like heel that like you will need him to for Dragonov to be a little better, but we're going to talk about everything. Thank you so very much to every single one of you for supporting us, for watching the videos, for all the love that you give us, either one of the social media outlets. Please keep doing so. Subscribe to the original Road Break. Don't forget like NXT review. Not like that. That's why I said Tuesday, because I was thinking about this. Carmelo Hayes becomes the brand new North American champion, defeating Isaiah Swerve Scott. You know, Santos Escobar, they still have faith in him. There was a report that do not worry, because we're already thinking that it's done. But despite that, a pretty decent episode of NXT.
You know, I mean, this is one of the ones that I guess it's getting a little better, but when they're as bad as they were, you know, the only place really to go is up. I didn't care for this ending, the cashing in of his, you know, he won the breakout tournament and earned a title opportunity, but he cashed it in like Money in the Bank. And so that just shows you that, you know, Vince and Bruce and all them are pretty much just changing the script, everything Triple H, Shawn Michaels and all that did. And, you know, it really shows. It's a
different life. It's a different vibe of NXT 2.0. So, like, please watch the video, you know, put some comments, let us know what you guys are thinking about the show so far. Let's start talking about, like we said, from London, the BTA studios, the BTA Sports Studios. You know, finally that we see like the friends or like, you know, the families of the wrestlers. We get to see also like that was going to be the main event. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But what do you think about the first match? Blair Davenport going against Stevie Turner. We knew that like finally Blair was reinstated just because of the request of Stevie Turner. So we knew that like Blair Davenport was gonna win. She's gonna like be like the monster heel. They're building her up to be like that, Bea Priestley. And I mean, Stevie would put a good fight, but in the end, you know, Blair Davenport is the girl. You know, like she's Will Ospreay's like girlfriend. I mean, they have the same style, the same intensity. Is like kind of a strong style, right? So like, I think it put on a good match, but in the end, it's like I think Meiko Satomura and her are gonna end up clashing at some point.
Oh, that's all this was, you know. It's like, oh, thanks for coming, Stevie Turner, you know, 1, 2, 3. I mean, you know, a decent match, couple, you know, what, maybe 5 minutes?
Yes.
You know, 4 or 5 minutes. And, you know, no, this was really just, okay, Blair Davenport's reinstated, a dominant win for her to look strong. I didn't want this to go long or be overly competitive, and it wasn't, so this was fine to start the show.
Exactly, made it like what it's supposed to be, so good stuff like that. But this match actually turned out to be not bad, the next one that we're going to be talking about, you know, but it started out the feud is done. You know, the way that like as of late, you know, Flash Morgan Webster has been asking for feuds, he's slapping people. That's kind of like, it's like he gets like opponents on NXT UK. I don't understand why you do that at the expense of Shawn Samuels, but despite that, you know, pretty good showing for both men. The only thing is like, you know, Flash Morgan Webster did something kind of dumb, babyface dumb, because at some point in the match, like he was going to win by countout, but I guess he didn't want to win that way, because if you're a babyface, you will never win that way, right, Paul?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, what was the segment before this where Shawn Samuels was like, oh, come, you know, to Noam Dar, and he's like, oh, I have a surprise for you. And then it was like the birthday party thing or something. Then it was like, it was supposed to be a congratulatory party for, you know, winning this tournament to go against Tyler Bate. He's like, no.
The number one contender.
And he's like, no, we'll just have it, you know, once I beat him. And then, you know, once you beat Flash Morgan Webster. So that was kind of like the setup to this, and like you said, they showed the slap. So stupid. I hope he doesn't try to get girls the same way he tries to get matches. But
exactly,
this was, I mean, the match was really good though, and I'm thinking, okay, they're probably gonna put Flash Morgan Webster over. You know, he's a baby face. There's a crowd there. Okay, legit. And then, like you said, he would have won by countout, the big dive to the outside. No, he doesn't want to win that way. He wants to win 1, 2, 3 in the ring. He goes for the pin. Oh, no, he kicks out. You know, too much time has passed, you know, till he got him in the ring. And then, you know, big slam by Shawn Samuels. I mean, like, you know, it was kind of like a spine buster, but
Yeah,
it
it was
was
a spine buster. Yeah, it
yeah,
was a point because he went for like a tornado DDT, but in the moment that he's trying to like turn, like show like like he turns into
and
like the spine buster.
just the way he hit it wasn't like on the flat of the back. It was like at the top of the shoulders, the neck. It made it look really like brutal. Maybe just the way Morgan Webster sold it. But I mean, it was brutal. 1, 2, 3. He gets the win. I was surprised by the winner. I really thought the babyface was going to go over. But this looks good for Noam Dar, Shaw Samuels. That little. Not
They duo that they have. These two
yeah.
best friends that they have is really good, especially like you said, because we never seen him win like a Shaw Samuels. We never seen him like getting the win.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is it sucks for Subculture. I feel like this group was more like they added Danny Luna and then they became bullshit. Like the group was more over and they got more wins when it was just the two of them.
When they were like a tag, but like in this case it's hard because like what do you do with these guys, because there's like the Heritage Cup and like it's barely defended.
You don't have these guys in singles feuds.
Yeah, exactly. Like like put them in the tag. For example, this show did not have any tag matches. So like give me one, or where's Pretty Deadly? I haven't seen him in like a while, so like at least have a match, like start building contendership.
You know what? Because I mean, I know they're using them, I'll say right now, but I mean, give the grilled young veterans back to NXT UK.
That's also like another. That will be fresh air. That will be fresh air for them, and it will actually be easy. Like take the title away from Pretty Deadly soon. Give them like two baby faces. Then the grilled young veterans, they can have a better feud with like also like Gallus. They can have this with Flash Morgan Webster. Revamp this division that like is lacking a little bit. Yeah, I agree with you. So when you put them in like single feuds, they're gonna take away from them. So let's go to something that again, not too great. I mean. They need something with the girls. Like Nina Samuels' show. I mean, she's trying to develop her character, because we know that like as a wrestler maybe she's not the greatest. So in the end, she's interviewing Zaya Brookside and is like, hey, you lost to Amel, you lost to like Danny Luna, you lost to like Blair Davenport, and then she goes, well, haven't you lost to all of them, you also? And he's like, well, can you beat her? And then you see right here also like Aliyah James is her name, and it's like, hey, you want to have a match? Sure. And then they go work out together. So I'm like, sure, that's fine. And I mean, like Zaya Brookside, I think that's going to be the step in sort of like the heel turn that she needs. Maybe Aliyah James beats her, and then finally she will go unhinged. She will change her character, her gimmick. But this is setting up something good for Zaya Brookside. She needs it because she has a lot of fandom. She's popular, but unfortunately, she does not have a main role in this division.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the case. I mean, this is bad. I feel it's like we don't know because when we said, okay, Noam Dar has his, he has his talk show. He's funny, but he's also a super legit wrestler. So,
yes.
Okay, it's fine. You give Nina Samuels a talk show. Now there's two talk shows. Now this is like Miz TV and Alexa Bliss, when she had the talk show, and Kevin Owens show, and it's like all these. Now it feels like WWE main roster. So I don't like this. Hopefully this doesn't stick. This Nina Samuels talk show, but I feel like you said they have nothing to do with her. They're like, let's do this. But I would have rather had somebody in an interview. Hey Zaya, you could even say the same thing. You're real popular. A lot of people like you. They're cheering for you. But lately, you've been on a downward spiral. Blah blah blah. You maybe could have did it differently.
For example, what's holding you back? What do you need to do? What do you think is like?
Don't have it be Nina Samuels. That's so stupid.
Yeah, because and also because of Nina, the character. Remember, she was like the butler and all of that. Yeah. Like she was nice. So that I think I heard it a little bit, because you go and interview her also. But we'll see what happens. What do you think about this? This is going to be next week. This is all. It's okay. I mean, for losers, I don't want to say that, but I have to mention that L word. Is because we have Symbiosis have not won in like forever. Probably won like 4 months or something. Won against Jack Stars and Dave Mastiffs. Like they have interactions like a few weeks ago with also Oliver Mustache Man. They have that because they came out, and maybe it seemed like they were going to continue their feud, but then Stars and Mastiff like interfere. So we'll see what happens here. I'm thinking for me, Symbiosis need to get the win, because Jack Stars and Mastiff, they don't even have like a big chance of becoming tag team champions. But it seems to me that they're going to go with the baby faces.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time. You just even mentioned it earlier. You said, maybe at some point a babyface tag team needs to beat Pretty Deadly. And, I think they're going to do it to these guys. Dave Mastiff, he's been here since the beginning. To me, he deserves... He's earned it. When people say like, oh, you deserve it or you earned it, like he's one of the guys who he's earned it here to hold some sort of gold. And Jack Stars, he's a good wrestler. This will help get him over. Like we said, to me, this is like the Rhino and the Heath Slater. It's like the underdog story. Everybody will love it. And I think they're going to get the win here to help push them. But it's the same thing I'm going to say with Subculture. it sucks because it's like, these guys should be getting pushed too. So, I don't want to say this show should be longer or something, but maybe there should be more matches where it's like, we see a team like Symbiosis just beating up a job team, 2 minutes. They beat up a job team. They hit their big finish. Eddie Dennis comes out, yee, 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 and, it's all like legit and, they move on. It's not, they're always putting Symbiosis against teams that are either the champions or being pushed, and then they lose.
That are higher,
essentially Symbiosis is the job team.
Yeah, no, yeah, it becomes the job team. You're pretty right about that. I agree with you. And let's move on to this, Paul. There we see Gallus. They're going to Sid Scala's office, and then he's right there, Jordan Devlin, and they talk about, he said, well, good that you're here because actually I was asking for a rematch against you, and the rivalry continues. We said that he was going to do, and then the great phrase that you actually texted me, the ace beats the king any day of the week, right? I think that's how he said it, right?
Yeah, he's pretty much like, an ace beats a king every day of the week, talking about cards and everything. Because he's like, I came in here, I'm telling Sid, these two dopes, they're barred from ringside, it's just going to be me and you. And then Joe Coffey pretty much, he's like, oh, that's fine, I could beat you, blah, 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 just talking trash. And he's like, listen, you want to talk trash and all this stuff? He's like, I got something to tell you. You had 2 title shots. You main evented 2 takeovers. And guess what you walked away with? Nothing. I main evented 1, or I had 1 title match, and I'm in the history books forever.
You're right, absolutely.
So, great line there, and then that's when he followed up, and that an ace always beats a king. So this is good. I'm looking forward to it. And again, I think Jordan Devlin almost has to win because
in this one he will win.
Yeah, I think he has to win just so he can be a matchup to maybe go against Dragonov, and we're going to talk about that soon.
Thank you.
I feel like that matchup, that we saw here with A-Kid, it felt a little flat because the Walter feud was a long feud. You had the emotional, roller coaster of watching the first match and, the promos and everything. You knew their history. This match was thrown together in 2-3 weeks. So how could you really get that excited and invested for it? And also, it's Dragonov's first feud. We're all smart to the business. We all know, okay, he's not going to lose his first title defense. Not going to be bullshit. So, that's the kind of thing that I feel took away from this match, and maybe that kind of hurt the crowd too. I really don't know.
Everything that you're saying, it makes sense. Another thing to notice is the fact that, again, 2 baby faces. There's no heel here. So who do I want to win here? And also, who's hurting the other one? So who's creating the heat? Neither one of them. So it's more like a contested match, meaning, 2 forces that are similar, but at the same time, I really feel that in this, Ilja Dragunov does not have the baby face power to go against another baby face. To, kind of like, you will root for him, rather than the A-Kid. It's like, I like both guys, so it's like there's not really like one that you pick. Whether like Walter, he's the heel. I want Dragonov to beat him because he's way stronger, he's bigger, all of that. Here is very similar. So it's like, there wasn't like, I don't know, like also
they told a good story. Obviously, Dragonov, he went after
the leg and
the legs, and A-Kid went after Dragonov's arm and shoulder. That was the big story of this match. But really good. Like you said, it maybe would have been better if the crowd was really into it. Maybe remember when I said, I want crowd to see Walter and Dragonov. Maybe it was good there wasn't crowd if this is how the crowd was going to react.
I agree.
I don't know. I mean, the crowds for these shows, 2-3 years ago were so hot. Hopefully it goes back to that once they let more.
And you know what it is, Paul, also because they're still in that, the BT Sports Studio. Yeah. So it's not really out there in cities. They're not in like Birmingham, Liverpool, Portsmouth, all of those great cities in the UK that like you can like see the crowd's intensity, the levels of like fandom are so high. So that's what I think it took away. And for me also, like I said to you, the match never really picked up speed. It was very technical. Like A-Kid that's one of his strengths, but in the end also that's one of his weaknesses because it makes him a boring wrestler. And Dragonov tried every single part to make it go fast, to make it more dramatic, and it doesn't matter whether McGuinness and the other guy tried. It wasn't it never picked up.
Andy Shepherd,
Andy Shepherd, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. And I enjoy a more technical match, but I like it when there's. If you watch a match between like a Shawn Michaels and a Bret Hart, or Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, something like that, where people say, this is a technical masterpiece, that's, but there's still have moments in that match that are exciting.
Yes.
Whether it's like a big bump or, something crazy or, there's always something that, pops you. Then they go back to the technical stuff. I mean, there was moments like that in this, like big suplexes and, just the brutal strikes, but you said nothing really big. There was no real big spots. There was like, he got him in the submission, and when he caught him, and he was going to get the Ura Plata, but then he got the arm bar, and then he picked him up, big power bomb, but he still held it in, power bomb again. There was lots of good, stuff like that, but I don't know if that's really the exciting spot that pops people nowadays to get really people into the match. And I was still into it. I thought it was good because, like I said, I enjoy this, but when you have a match like this, if you don't have that emotional story where it's like, I really want to see this guy win, or maybe in this match, what if you saw, A-Kid turn heel? What if he got pissed and he ripped off a turnbuckle pad, or he went to go get something, and you're like, well, what's A-Kid doing? Then you, oh shit, he's turning heel. And then
it's giving you something extra. It's giving something unexpected. Yes,
he hit, the pretty much the torpedo Moscow.
Twice. One on the leg, and one he hit it right on on the face, kind of arm, shoulder, around there, and then he got the win like that. And like you said, I mean.
And
good
then
match.
the show of respect. See, when he won and they showed the highlights, I'm like, okay, badass. Then they went to go do the show of respect thing, and I'm like, you know what? This is where A-Kid's gonna turn heel. This is where he's gonna like fucking clothesline him, or he's gonna walk off, or he's gonna do something, and I don't know. Or he's just gonna, or maybe he's going to shake his hand, and A-Kid just slaps it away. Like, I don't want your fucking respect. Like, whatever. Nothing. He just shakes his hand. So I'm like, he's still babyface. This would have, like you said, the perfect opportunity to turn heel, because he's, in his young career here in NXT UK, he had 2 title opportunities to be the UK champion, and he didn't win any of them.
And what you're just saying,
he's boring as a babyface.
Yes, exactly. And what you just said in the previous segment, that's what they needed. Like, what is Jordan Devlin? A good heel. That's what we need. He's like, I hate this guy. I want like Dragonov to beat his ass. I want him to beat him, and no title for him. All like cockiness. I'm the ace and all of that. Well, Dragonov's gonna take this and stick it up your, right there. Things like that, because he was like, yeah, 2 baby faces, sure. Even this is awesome. This is
yeah, exactly.
The crowd killed it for me. If you're not gonna be excited, don't go to the shows. I need intensity. If not, just leave. I'd rather see the match. I'd rather see McGuinness and he says Shepard just like getting me excited, because it takes away. It takes away. But like you said, it needed a first feud. He needed to win. He's not going to drop that title anytime soon. So they did this, and like I said, overall, I feel you think for just the technicality of the match, just the technical aspect, it was good. That's what we can say. And in the end, the still UK champion, that's Ilja Dragunov. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. I hope you enjoy what we did, and also don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Don't forget tomorrow, SmackDown with us. We're going to have also like AEW a little bit, either Saturday, because there's Dynamite on Saturday. Also, maybe you can go over a little bit of Rampage, because there's going to be a big show on Rampage. Superside SmackDown, don't forget FS1, not Fox. So where else can they find us, Paul?
And guys, make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...